Hey everybody, my name is Rydo, and we're going to quickly cover the upcoming balance changes to Hearthstone in update 6.1.3. Now, I haven't covered any of this, so this will be just my first impressions, but my first impression on hearing they're changing the cards again is, oh, they're at it again. I've been playing Hearthstone for 2 years now, and in the last, 4 months or so, they've updated now twice the cards. And I guess maybe I wasn't paying attention before then, or it didn't really matter. But so here we're at their website. The link will be down below, and they're giving us explanations as to why they feel they need to make the changes for certain characters, like the shaman. I'll leave it to you to read it either now by pausing the screen or reading the website. Let's just look at the exact cards that are getting changed and see how I feel about them. The first one is the 1 mana spell card Rockbiter Weapon. Give a friendly character plus 3 attack this turn. Is now 2 mana. Honestly, this seems very silly. Now, my experience with playing the Shaman is he's kind of a hard character to win with. At least at the lower levels. At rank 20 that I start at every month. I'm not up there on Legendary. He's a hard character. And this 1 mana spell was just one of those spells that that sort of helped, and now they're making it twice as expensive to play, and I don't see the logic in it at all. I'm probably going to say that for a lot of these, is they seem to be balancing for high level play and potentially hurting new players in an attempt to help new players. If this was like an overload card, maybe. I don't see it. Next one is well, this one is a slight change here. I do play this one when on my totem stacks for Shaman. But the only difference here is instead of summoning any random totem, it summons a random basic totem. Which means there's like 2 or 3 totems that aren't basic totems that this can't summon anymore. Which makes this pretty, this version of the card pretty bad. The 4 basic totems aren't very useful at all. There's only one that you typically want to even summon with your hero ability, and that's the 0-2 with taunt. The one that gives you spell damage +1 isn't usually that helpful because you don't usually have that many spells. The one that heals 1 damage to all minions is somewhat helpful, but it's not gonna save a game. And then the one that's a 1-1 with no abilities is kind of pointless too. Alright, next one, they're changing the cost of Call of the Wild. Call of the Wild was just introduced, so my reliance on that is not very high. I thought it was a pretty good card at 8. When you know the 3 animal companions that are summoned, because it's always the same 3, those 3 cards combined are more expensive than 9 mana, or 8 mana at least. So getting it up to 9 kind of makes sense, but the main problem I have with this card is not the cost, in that 1 doesn't really change it that much. It's that for an 8th turn play, where you would probably only be able to do this on 8th turn and no other cards, getting those 3 companions probably not gonna help you, because you need 3 empty spots on your field, and only like 1 of them are going to be able to attack the boar during that turn. So this small balance change to me seems a lot more acceptable just because they fixed it early. Now the question is, why didn't they fix this before they released the card, instead of having to increase some negativity there? Execute from 1 mana to 2 mana. That's strange change. Execute kills me a lot when I'm playing against rogues and I have like any damage at all, or warriors. Yeah, I think it's warriors. People play the 1 mana execute, and it does often mess up my strategies. However, changing it to 2 doesn't, I think, really affect it very much. Again, like Call of the Wild, it's like I can't be really too mad about this one because it is still a pretty powerful card for 2 mana. Destroy any damaged minion. Combine that with the many warrior cards that can do 1 damage to all minions, and you can take out a legendary 10 mana card with a good combo there. Next one, ooh. So now we're going the other way. A 3 mana charged card that gives a friendly minion +2 attack and charge is now been changed to a 1 mana card to give a friendly minion charge. It can't attack heroes this turn. Oh, for a second there, I was gonna say I like this change. I like the idea that they decided some cards were too expensive and they were gonna make it better, but that's not really what they've done. They've completely changed the card. They might as well have banned this card and created a new card with a different art and different name, because these are completely different now. Give a friendly minion charge. It can't attack this turn. Yeah, they effectively have just banned this card. Totally. So, the one thing that usually when they make these changes, I will say, is they have a grace period where if you have gold versions of this or dust and you want to turn it into dust, you'll get the equivalent amount of dust it would cost to craft that. So if you have some gold versions of this card, I would highly recommend just getting rid of it. But this might actually be a basic card, so you might not actually have the ability to turn it into dust. But this is a complete banning of a card without calling it banning. They've totally changed it. That is my ultimate fear, is that 2 more years from now, who's to say every single card in Hearthstone hasn't been changed, that the game is totally different, that they adopt a policy of just always changing cards around and always tweaking with it, fiddling with the system, so trying to keep it fresh, trying to keep it balanced. In a lot of ways, I hate Hearthstone for being so balanced, because it is a player versus player game. You only win at most around 50% unless you're a very good player, and so most players on average are going to lose 50%, which is an incredibly high percentage to lose at, and it makes it very frustrating. In fact, it was not 2 days ago that I spent an entire day trying to get 3 quests done, because I simply could not get anybody on casual to lose. Like, I'm a pretty decent player, and I was just running into this horrible losing streak, and it was awful. An entire day wasted trying to play Hearthstone because the game's so balanced. And my skill and my knowledge of playing this game doesn't help when cards get changed to make everything more equal. Of course, if it was an incredibly unbalanced game, then the really, really good players would beat all the new players, and no new players would ever play. Moving forward, this 1 mana, 2 attack, 1 health has now been changed to 1 mana, 1 attack, 1 health. I imagine this is the beginning of them of doing this to all cards, that they're gonna get it to the point where all 1 mana cards have 1 attack and 1 health at most. But it is kind of, Abusive Sergeant is kind of a powerful one anyways, because he also has this battle cry. So even at this point, giving a minion +2 attack this turn is still a pretty good card. Let's see, Yarg Sauron's Hope End has been completely changed, and this is the most controversial card that we've ever made, really. So they're completely changing this, and so now it's going to be a 10 mana, 7 attack, 5 health. I wish they had a picture of the old version. And cast a random spell for each spell you've cast this game. Targets chosen randomly. What did they change here? Some people love Yogg, or other people hate it. We feel Yogg into the mid. Just like here, 2 decks. We didn't want to nerf it so much. Could be fun for cards. Sounds so short. We tried a bunch of things, and we think this is a significant enough nerf. It could reduce the amount it gets seen, especially in tournaments, while still maintaining your dream. So they're not even explaining to they're not even explaining what they changed here. I would have to go look at it and in Hearthstone, which I guess I could just go do. 10, 7, 5, cast a random spell. No, I won't do that because then I'd have to alt tab out of this. So it looks, it was always a 10. So they've either changed what it says or made it a legendary. No, it was always a legendary. So cast a random spell for each spell that you cast this game. I think before it was cast every spell that you cast before. So maybe that's the slight change. This one I really don't even have an opinion on, so it's so controversial. I guess I didn't even ever play it. Most of that is because this seems like a card you'd only play in a mage deck, and since by default you're almost certainly going to get your mage up to level 60 before anything else, you're very unlikely to play mage after that point, and I actively avoid playing mage because of that. There's nothing more I can do other than get 500 victories with it to get the gold version of mage. But again, that also is a very late game. Yogg is a late game thing where you would have to cast a lot of spells, and just again, if you're not playing mage, you're not casting a lot of spells. So I'm not really outraged with the changes. I'm outraged with the precedent that's getting set here this time. Those few cards being tweaked aren't the problem. It's the fact that they made other tweaks just a few months ago, and are we going to get a tweak with every monthly update now? How long before every single card has different stats? How long before cards are just completely different? There's no history getting saved here either. It's not like you could lock to a pre-update version and play in a different way. Unlike something like Minecraft, where you could go play the first released version of Minecraft today easily. The launcher kind of even helps you do it for at least some of the older versions. Here you have to be updated. You can only play online with people that are updated to the newest version. So we're kind of getting pushed into things. It's going to get down to the point where people are going to have to just print out their own Hearthstone cards to play the way they want to. That was the one thing about playing something like Magic the Gathering, is those cards were real, and while you may ban certain cards at tournaments, you could always at home play with the cards as they were printed. here, this being a digital only thing, the tweaking, the changing, the pulling the rug out from under you is a bad precedent to start, and they're gonna have to address that eventually. Anywho, that was my attempt to keep this announcement short. I hope you liked it. Again, this is all from Hearthstone. The link's down below. So that's my first impressions. I end all my episodes the same way. I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos, because all that helps me with YouTube, tells them that my videos are worth watching. If you want to support me even further than that, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. You can click that and make a donation. Also, by clicking on my name, Rydo, that gets you to my main YouTube page. You can subscribe there. You can also see a playlist tab, and I have a playlist for every single game I've ever covered. I've covered a lot of games, a lot of them not Hearthstone, but I am nearly up to episode 500 on my Hearthstone Monday through Friday videos, which it is my blog series, so you may want to mute me if you don't want to hear me talking about my channel. The other thing I wanted to sneakily point out here is you've been hearing the Hearthstone music the whole time. That's simply because I have Hearthstone open in the background to play the music. I figured that it would be nicer to have some background sound than sit here in silence. Finally, down below in the description box, I have links to all my social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, Steam, and Battle.net. I still need a lot of people to friend me on Battle.net and follow me on all the other things too. If you follow me on Twitter or Facebook or any of those, then whichever service you check daily, you'll see when my latest videos are available, and it helps me with those sites to have more followers. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.